Continuing with 1.6, this is the fourth video, 1.6D, and we're up to example number 14. And it asks us to find the LCD, or the least common denominator, of 3/4 and 1/6. Doesn't ask us to add them or subtract them or do anything. They just want common denominators. So we want these two numbers down here to be the same. So we have to find a number that both 4 and 6 divide evenly into. So I write down the prime factors of 4, which is 2 times 2, and the prime factors of 6, which is 3 times 2. Because we have because 4 and 6 are both small numbers, it's real easy to come up with the prime factors. Then, if you remember right, we look at our row on the top and count the number of 2's, and then we look down here and count the number of 2's. Well, we only have 1 here, so we get rid of it, and we're going to take the one with the most. So we'll put those over here. Then we look at the row, and there isn't anything else here, but we have a 3 here, so this 3 obviously occurs more here than anywhere else. So we put it up there. Multiply those together and we get 12. So 12 is the lowest common denominator. It's the number that both 4 and 6 will divide evenly into. So if in example 15 it says to add these two numbers, we just found the LCD and we found out that the 4, we're going to turn, the least common denominator is 12. So we're going to put a 12 instead of the 4 and a 12 instead of the 6. How did we get that 12? Well, we multiplied 4 times 3 to get it. So we're going to multiply 3 times 3. Whatever you do on the bottom, you do to the top. Whatever you do on the top, you do to the bottom. So we multiplied 6 times 2 to get 12. So we have to multiply the top by 2. Plus sign there. 9 plus 2 is 11. Denominators never change in addition and subtraction. And we end up with 11/12. Now, if we're looking at example number 16, 16 says 7/15 minus 3 over 10. Alright, so before we subtract those, we have to find the least common denominator. So we take our 15 and we write the prime factors. And we take our 10 and write our prime factors. And we look at the first row, and there's a 3. So we're going to look at the second row and see how many are down there. There aren't any. So that means we want this one because it occurs the most times. Then we look at the next number. We have a 5 there. Look down here. We also have a 5 there. Since it occurs once here and once here, we just pick one. So we'll take that one. Then we look on the bottom and see if there's any numbers that are not circled or crossed out, and we haven't found any 2's yet. So there are no 2's up here, but since there's one down here, we're going to take the 1 because it occurs the most. Multiply those numbers, and that is our least common denominator. So what we're going to do with that 30 is we're going to change this 15 to a 30. If I can get rid of some of this stuff. Okay, so anyway, we'll just leave it there. We'll just ignore this stuff over here. It won't go away. So we found out that we're going to change that 15 to a 30. So what did we do to change that 15 to a 30? We multiplied it by 2, which means we multiplied the top by 2. Again, whatever you do on the top or the bottom, you have to do on the other one. So we multiplied 15 times 2 to get 30, 7 times 2 to get 14. And this became 32. Not 32, 30 as well. And what did we do? We multiplied 10 times 3 to get 30, so we multiplied 3 times 3. And we get that. So now that we have common denominators, we just subtract these. 14 minus 9 is 5, and we put it over 30. Now 5 over 30 reduces. In fact, 5 goes into 30 6 times. So 5 goes into 30 6 times, 5 goes into 5 1 time, and that ends up being our answer for example number 16. Looking at number 17, we have 1/6 and we're adding 1/8, and we're adding 1/4. Okay, we have to find least common denominators, so we're going to take our 6, and we're going to write that as 3 times 2. Those are our primes. We're going to take 8 primes, 2 times 2 times 2. We're going to take our 4, product of primes, 2 times 2. Alright, so let's look and see what we've got. I've got a 3 here, I don't have a 3 here, I don't have a 3 here, so it occurs the most times right there. So we'll put that down here. I look at the next one. I have a 2 there, I have 3 2's there, and I have 2 2's there. So 3 2's is the row that has the most, so I'm going to take those 3. Multiply all those together. 3 times 2 is 6, times 2 is 12, times 2 is 24. That's the common denominator. So it's pretty easy to do. Alright, so we're going to change the 6 to a 24. But what did we multiply 6 to get there? So we multiply the top. And we're going to change the 8 to a 24. What did we do to get that 8 to 24? We multiplied it by 3, so we multiply the top by 3. And then the 4 becomes a 24. What did we multiply the 4 by? A 6, so we multiply the top by 6. So now we're going to add those numbers. 4 plus 3 is 7, plus 6 is 13, and again, we never do anything with the denominator in addition and subtraction, and we get 13 over 24 as our answer. Alright, looks like we've just got a couple more examples here, and then we'll be done. Example 18, subtract 3 minus 5 over 6. We have to have common denominators to subtract. So we're going to change this 3 to a 3 over 1. Now we have a numerator and a denominator. So what are the prime factors of 1? Well, 1 is a prime factor, so it's 1. Prime factors of 6 are 3 and 2. Okay, whenever your denominator is a 1, the other fraction becomes the least common denominator, so you don't have to go through all the prime factoring stuff. So if I want this 1 to become a 6, what do I have to multiply it by? 6. So I multiply the top by 6. So this becomes 18 over 6 minus 5 over 6. We didn't do anything to that because, like I say, whenever one of the denominators is 1, the least common denominator is always the other fraction. And you never have to do anything to it then. So the only thing you had to change was this one. So 18 minus 5 is 13 sixteenths, and you are done with that one. I'm sorry, not sixteenths, just 6. I don't know where that 16 came from. Alright, so example number 19 asks you to find the next number in each sequence. So if we have 1/2, and then we go to 0, and then we go to 1/2, what's the next number here? What are we going to do? How did we get from 1/2 to 0 to negative 1/2? Well, it looks like we subtracted 1/2 each time. So we were at 1/2 and we took 1/2 away and that gave us 0. We took another 1/2 away and that gave us negative 1/2. If we take another 1/2 away, if we go 1/2 minus another 1/2, that's the same as, remember, making this negative 1/2. If there's a minus sign right there, we put a plus sign in front of it and put the negative in a parenthesis. Signs are the same, so we add 2 over 2 and put the sign on there, and 2 over 2 is 1, so it's negative 1. Negative 1 is the next number that we're looking for there for part A. If you look at part B, we start with 1/2, we go to 1, and then we go to 3/2. How did we do that? We went from 1/2 to 1 by adding a half, 1 to 3/2 by adding another half, and if we add another half, we get 4/2, which is equal to 2. So let's take that away, and it's just 2 for our next one. On C, it looks like a geometric sequence rather than an arithmetic sequence because we go from 1/2 to 1/4 to 1/8, and there isn't a number we can add to get from there to there and then add the same thing to get from there to there, so we must have to do some multiplication. So how could we go from 1/2 to 1/4? Well, if we took 1/2 times 1/2, we get 1/4. So we could multiply 1/2 times 1/2 and get 1/4. What happens if we take 1/2 times 1/4? We get 1/8, which is what we have there. So that works. So the next number would be 1/8 times 1/2, which is 1/16. So that would be 1/16 would be the next number. So the sequences are a little bit tricky. I still have trouble with them, finding out the pattern and all that. So not a life and death thing if it doesn't come real easy for you. Alright, this next video will be over the problem set of 1.6.